at the age of 21, I had, by this time I had got out of church and was seeking God, and I decided that, I needed something more. I was tired of the emptiness, so I prayed and I was seeking God, but little did I know God was seeking me. I was in love with my best friend, and we both decided to seek more of God. Through many divine encounters with God's Spirit, we both decided to go to church to seek after a greater fulfillment. So through many divine encounters, it was in 1991, we joined a very charismatic Pentecostal church. 5 months later, we got married because we had a daughter already. 9 months later, we had a son. 3 years later, my wife was not happy with the restrictions at the church, so she began falling away, and I stayed. In the interim, we both were praying for our family to be saved, and particularly we was praying for her mother, because her mother was an ex-exotic dancer and an ex-bar owner, so we figured that she really needed to be saved. So we began to pray for her, and God was doing some things during that time that contribute to my spiritual foundation. I had, as I said, we had joined a very charismatic church, and for 3.5 years I was taught about Christianity. I was taught about the Holy Spirit. I was taught about the triune God. I was taught about denominationalism. There was a lot of unanswered questions that I had, but during those 3.5 years I was taught. And to me, that was a foundation for me. That was a community of believers that nurtured me, that provided a solid foundation for me and a structure. Because we, had to go through new members class. We have to adhere to the church's disciplinary policies. We had to, we pretty much had mature saints around us, particularly around me, to make sure that we not only talked the talk, but we walked the walk. So that was good. After 3.5 years of being taught, I was led to start prayer meetings with my mother-in-law, and we started prayer meetings in a house, and then the prayer meetings grew and grew and grew, and then we had so many people coming to prayer meetings. There was something happening in my life. God was leading me out of the charismatic church and leading me to start growing this prayer meeting that eventually turned into a church. So all these things were a part of my foundation. But I must tell you, out of all the tests and trials that I went through, once I had taken this MDiv class, and we've had the Sovereign Foundation. I'll never forget that, by Dr. J. Robert Clinton, and definitely Dr. Sophia and Dr. Kwazi really embraced the importance of understanding a Sovereign Foundation. This was putting meats around bones, as I think it's in the book of Ezekiel, where the prophet was in a valley of dead bones, and he asked God, "Can these bones live?" And Son of Man, the Spirit said, "Can these bones live?" He said, "Only God knows." And then everything began to come together. I mean, this is what this Sovereign Foundation was like to me. It was like putting meat on the bones, and it just made a lot of sense of everything that I was confused about, or I didn't have answers about, concerning my Sovereign Foundation. These things was necessary to make me who I am today. So